Hello, this is our first after the day video, and today we went to Macau from Hong Kong. So, first of all, we'll talk about the ferry. You catch the ferry from Central, and we paid the extra, which was I forgot,
461 Hong Kong.
461 Hong Kong, so roughly $50 for the premier section. So bigger seat, obviously, kind of like first class. You get a meal, food, you get drinks, alcohol, or other. You get to get off the boat first. That's important because you have to go through customs. And as you know, customs is a line. Being first in the line is going to help. So, you arrive in Macau, and there are, but what would you call those buses? Like big tour buses?
That's what they are.
Yeah, tour buses. So they're all lined up. You walk out. Each resort or casino, I should say, has a bus there. It's free, so you just pick one, get on it, and it takes you to that casino. And then from there, you can walk around, take a taxi, go wherever you want from there. On that note, the taxis. We took taxis several times. I think it was easier. There is no subway over on Macau. And the most expensive taxi we took was about 150 Hong Kong. Is that what it was?
105 Hong Kong.
105 Hong Kong. So $12. Air conditioned, straight to it.
There's taxi stands at every casino, just like it
Yes.
would be if you were in Las Vegas. So Cal looks very much like Vegas. There's a number of very large casinos. There's the Wynn, Venetian, Parisian. It is separated into two very different areas. So if you want to go to the Venetian or the Parisian, you are in another part of Macau than you are if you want to get to the Grand Lisboa, the Wynn, or the MGM. And you do have to take a taxi if you want to go back and forth between the two. And I think it was about $80 to do that. So it's very, very reasonable. You
Yes.
do need a lot of cash in Macau. They do have their own currency, which is MOP, but they do take Hong Kong dollars. You may get your cash back though in MOP, so be aware. Also, they don't tend to take large bills, so also make sure that you break down your money, so they didn't want
Excuse
to
me,
take.
if you take my bill,
Oh, yeah.
my check.
Oh, was that your check? We just thought it was a receipt.
Yeah, I'm looking for
sorry.
this.
We thought it was
Oh
a.
my god.
I'm sorry. We just
So
thought it
very
was.
sorry.
We
No,
just
no,
thought it was
it's
a. We thought
No
it was a
problem.
menu.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, or
So
if you're Dave.
I propped the camera up with this, and he had a bill in it he was looking for. So
Poor guy. So that was very distracting. Sorry. So anyway, you need to have probably most of your bills under 100 Hong Kong. If you want to use them with street vendors or anywhere outside of the casinos, you're not going to take those larger $500 bills. What else? So
going to see the older Portuguese town. So that part, well, you could walk. But again, it was very hot, so we took a taxi. And they have the original settlement of the Portuguese. All the buildings are still there, and so there's some old churches, the original town square. But more importantly, is you can walk around and every street, and we have a lot of pictures of that on the blog. You'll see little tiny restaurants and food vendors, gift shops, bakeries, just one after the other. And those are the things you have to dive into, especially over there or Hong Kong. Really anywhere that we've been, we found if you find those kind of areas and you dive into it, you're going to have a much better time and experience the actual culture versus a tourist type area, even though this is all about tourism.
So when you are in the Portuguese area, that is called Sindano Square. That is where you go to get started. There is a cathedral. There's ruins of St. Paul's that burned down. There's also ancient fort there that you can go see. But the street vendors, what you're looking for, or what's famous there, one is the Portuguese egg tart. It is a lot different than the Hong Kong egg tart in that it has like a brulee on the top. I will say it was partial to the Macau or Portuguese egg tart because it gives it a little extra sweetness that you don't find on the Hong Kong side. They also have a pork chop bun, which is absolutely delicious, and that is also very popular with the street vendors. And if you want to be brave, offal, which is like tripe, beef, intestines, those type of things, are also very, very popular. Lots of stalls of those. You can also get all of the standards, the fried intestines, the curry fish balls, all of those things were also readily available. In
all the traditional Chinese type food.
The other thing that we did not know about Macau is the alcohol. So everyone that knows us knows that we love alcohol. It is very hard to find there before 6 o'clock at night. So none of the bars in any of the casinos open until 6. So if you want to find a drink, good luck. It took us 4 casinos, I think, before we found an open bar, and that was only in the Venetian that we found anything. And we did find on one of the side streets a restaurant that was serving beer that you could find. But other than that, expect it to be a lot of coffee, a lot of bubble teas, and just regular water and things like that before, non-alcoholic, before 6 o'clock.
Yes. So on the casino front, the first few we hit, I will call it almost main area. It was kind of the main part where the town is. The Venetian and the Parisian, it was kind of on a little island, a tiny separate island. It was all an island, but it was its own little separate island. So the first ones we went to, fairly calm. When we got to the Venetian, it was insane. And we have some other videos and pictures of that. Tons of people. It looked like a major sporting event had just let out, and just crazy. And when we did find that bar and we talked to the bartender, he said that one of the reasons for that is the Venetian is one of the only ones, or the only one over there, that accepts very large groups to come over to gamble. But they were literally coming off the touring bus, and they had the stick up saying, "Follow me, you're on this tour," and taking them around the whole casino, which is very large. So there was a lot of people.
So just like you see a lot of Asians that take tours in the United States from China, that's very common for you to see in touristy areas around the world. It's still also very common here. So a lot of people from mainland China, as well as from Hong Kong, take these large tour buses. So they come in just these gigantic groups, and there was probably 4 or 5 of these groups that were all there at the same time when we got there.
Probably more than that, but that's what we could count.
Huge. Every single one of the casinos has a lot of the same things that you're used to. They have restaurants, they have the most popular Portuguese egg tarts from the most famous bakeries. There's this amazing beef jerky. I don't even know if that's really what you call it, but it's delicious. Also on the casino floor, so no smoking, also no drinking. They don't serve alcohol on the casino floor at all, so that's a little different. You can have free snacks and free tea, but no alcohol. Also, the limits on the tables, very different than the United States, at least in the casinos that we were in. Depending on the casino, obviously a little bit less or more, but in general, most of the ones we saw were 1,000 Hong Kong minimum and up to a maximum of 2 million Hong Kong. So that's $100 US ish to about $200,000 per table. There's also a lot of games that we had never seen before. Some were very interesting, easy to follow. A lot of card games that were not anything that we had seen before, and so we were a little scared off by that. We won a whole $5 on a penny slot, so we felt like we were winners with our $5 at the MGM.
Yeah, if you're not a serious gambler, like we did, we sat down at a slot a couple times because it was cheap, just to do it, because they're very different. Definitely not a traditional slot like of the olden days, but I think that's how most of them are now, all digital.
And I'd say just the last thing, as all throughout Asia, is to be prepared for the chaos of walking through crowds. You are going to get cut off. You are going to get stuck in a group of people walking really slow. You're going to get stuck in really large groups. So try to be patient. Also, because they are so large, just follow the signs the best you can. They're not always well marked, so you may have to try a couple of different passageways, but be prepared for that. There was a lot of pushing and shoving through the lobbies, especially at the Venetian, to get into the casino.
Yep. So overall, it was a great day. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the old town. Enjoyed the markets, the narrow streets, the architecture. And then coming back, we took the time, and it's an hour ferry ride. So it was an hour and 45 minutes from getting on the ferry to walking into the lounge up here. So we timed it just right on the subways, and just the end of a perfect day up here in the lounge, watching the light show with the wine.
So you can watch more videos on the YouTube channel that Dave is just posting raw footage, and also follow along on the blog. Thanks.
Well fed and travels.
See you soon.